This is the book of Job, chapter 5 and verse 12. He disappointeth the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Job, chapter 5 and verse 12. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Yachakundash. Double honors to our venerable apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to your Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Haran coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and going back to my video I did yesterday, all right, I just wanted to just do a quick update, all right, on this article that I came across, okay, and through the Spirit, you know, being in the times that we're in, that's the next major prophecy that we're all waiting for, okay, which is the mandatory implementation of the MOTB. Okay, we say mandatory implementation because that's exactly what's going to happen. Okay, we're looking at many different legislations that have been signed and put in place. Okay, for the very moment where they get the chance, in the name of emergency use, they get the chance to push it globally. All right, where it affects everyone on the planet, as is biblically written. All right, to happen. Okay, when we go into the book of Revelation, and we keep on bringing this out time and time again, and that's because this is why we're here. Okay, our jobs as prophets of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai pertain to Ezekiel 3 and 17 is to give warning. Okay, that's it. Just give warning, all right, to the children of Israel. Okay, ultimately by doing that, you're going to end up with the word reverberating throughout these other nations as well, because you have Israelites, all right, that are mingled, all right, among all these other nations. Okay, and that's why the Lord told Jeremiah that he has made him a prophet, all right, onto the nations. Okay, so we come in the same stead, all right? And that's why you hear the prophets, starting with our elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down, constantly warning you about this very time that we're about to enter into, okay? And after I read this article, you'll understand that this thing is not a joke, okay? Revelation 13 and verse 16, it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or charagma, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Okay, now we over here, starting with our elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down, we believe, all right, and we know, all right, we know wholeheartedly that the MOTB is the RFID microchip. Okay, and let's read through this, and it will all come full circle. All right, so the title of the article goes: EU Parliament, mandatory C-HIP implants for EU citizens. Okay, the EU has been studying mandatory C-HIP implants since 2017, and has an in-depth published study examining the technology and the barriers needed to overcome in order to C-HIP their population. Okay, it says, and this is just the abstract of the study. It says, this explains the technology of RFID C-HIP implants, explores current applications, and considers legal, ethical, health, and security issues relating to their potential use in the workplace. Now, just like it tells you in the book of Psalm, the 64th chapter, that these devils, they do a diligent search. Okay, so in order for them to actually be part of to bring this prophecy to life, okay, by fulfilling it, they have to actually do a in-depth research. Okay, they have to do a diligent search to make sure that all bases are covered. Okay, hence you have the legal problems, the ethical issues, the health issues, security, all these different things. They study it. Okay, how are we going to affect the people in order for them to receive this thing? How do we become a problem for them to want us to give them a solution? Okay, so let's read. It says, legal issues, although other legislation is relevant, the main legal issues or challenges to the compulsory use of RFID C-HIPs in the workplace would stem to derive from data protection and human rights legislation. Even where RFID HIP CHIP use was truly voluntary, this legislation would still be relevant, especially in respect of data protection. Hence, you have what they're conditioning the people to. All right, you have the three steps. You have the MOTB technology, MOTB mentality, and MOTB reality. Okay, and over the years, we've seen them condition the world, all right, to shift them into this linear way of thinking and this linear way of doing things in a digital aspect, right? So you have this new thing, which is really it's been there for a few years now, but now it's become a mainstay in many different ways, right? Something known as a two-step verification process. Okay, keeping your online data security, in a very good place has become, something that companies and these different corporations all push for. All right, no matter what job you work for, you all have to go through this password and all this extra shit. That's all conditioning. Okay, a conditioning process to get people to a point where we finally get to a point where there's no security whatsoever besides or except people having this CHIP in their body. Okay, like you have to actually take this device into your body, and that's the only way you can protect your own privacy or your own data. Which they also came out and said that there will be no privacy by having this thing in your body anyway. So how is that going to work? Okay. It says, in the case of voluntary applications, it would be necessary to ensure that the use was genuinely voluntary, and that it says, and that no disadvantage was seen to accrue to those individuals who declined to have a CHIP implanted, or that any pressures, whether direct or indirect, were exerted on those invited to participate. And we know that to be false. Okay, because when the prophecy states that no man might buy or sell, that is a straight up direct, pressure. Okay, you can't buy or sell unless you have this device in you. Point blank, period. Okay, so all these other camps going out, and they've been doing it for years, all right, telling you that the MOTB is anything but the MOTB itself. Nigga, what the fuck you talking about? When the time comes, and the time is fast approaching, we got months. Okay, because they're saying that once this the Hudat treaty goes into effect, it's a done deal, and we're gonna read it. Okay, and they're saying by in the spring of next year, 2024, they were saying by the end of this year it's going to be in effect. But the way people are responding, and they're like, oh, we're still looking at things here and there. By spring, May, by May, March all through May, we should have this treaty, all set and ready to go. Okay, the countries have voted on it, they've accepted it, everything is good to go. So that's going to be interesting. All right, when we get there. Okay, so let's read. It says, ethical concerns in an overlap with legal arguments. Ethical concerns stem in part from Article 1 and 3 of the Charter of Fundamental Rights of the EU relating to the inviolability of human dignity and the human body. Okay, meaning what? The word inviolability, all right, goes into the word inviolable, which pretty much means that you can't violate something, right? You can't violate, okay, the human dignity and the human body, okay? But they're gonna find a way around it because it's biblical prophecy, okay? So let me see something here. International Health Services, I think. IHS. Let's look it up real quick. Let's see. What is it? IHS. What's that? International Health Services. It has to be. All right. So the Hudat IHS amendments, right? The benefit for globalists who are clearly bent on micro control of its citizens. All right. Like Aaron Russo said in his interview with Alex Jones, I believe Alex Jones, who said this. He said, what? Total control. Total control. Okay. Total control. And that's exactly what this is all about. Look at the changes that are happening in society. Everything that people have to interact with is being changed. Okay. So then at that point, once the change is done around you, now the last change that needs to happen is you, which Klaus Schwab already came out and said. All right, the fourth industrial revolution is not just a change But he said it's the individual that's being changed. Okay, your DNA, mRNA, all this different stuff that's been going on, gene therapy, CRISPR, all this bullshit is all leading to that. It's to make the human body compatible with this technology. Okay, something known as what the BOI. Okay, I mean the IOB, Salakia, IOB, which is the Internet of Bodies. Okay, your body's compatible with technology, hence you will be able to be engaging on the new a grid, which is going to be digital, straight up. Okay, so it says the benefit. Okay, so it says the benefit for globalists who are clearly bent on micro control of its citizens are the Hudat IHS amendments and / Demic Treaty. The IHHC met in January to formalize changes to the Hudat regulations, and these could be approved by May of 2023. That's already been approved. All right. That's again. This article was written January of 2023. Okay. So we're looking at it retrospectively. All right. But at the time where it was written, it was projecting future. Okay. It says these amendments will permit the suspension of Articles 1 and 3 of the Charter of Fundamental Rights of the EU. Right. So the Article 1 and Article 3 are the ones that basically puts regulations in place to stop these corporations and these governments from violating human dignity or the human body. Okay. So now those things, the Hudat agreement will basically cut out or overcome that. Okay. It says thereby there you go. Overcoming the legal and ethical considerations that mandatory CHIPing of EU residents would otherwise have as barriers to this horrible, unethical, immoral network branding its citizens. Okay? No doubt the CHIPing or Charagmaing will work with the Vanessa passport they intend to roll out. Okay? And it says further ethical issues relate to health and safety concerns. The efficacy of Policy Department A, Economic and Scientific Policy 8, PE 614.209, the technology as a secure system, equity, and choice, and again in a parallel with legal issues, religious concerns. So now you're noticing they're shifting more and more towards doing away with any concept of religion. Okay, hence you have what you have today with the whole Israel-Palestine situation, is creating a divide even on the religious aspect of things. Okay, so-called Christians and Muslims are going against each other now. Okay, and when you really look at it, guess what? These are the small hats. All right, there's a divide there. They're not all on board. The regular average citizen of the small hats are not on board with what the hell is going on right now. Okay. And ultimately, like we've been saying in according to biblical prophecy, that land is going to be cooked. Okay. That land is going to be cooked because it's been defiled. All right. And it wouldn't be cooked if the true people were actually living there. According to biblical prophecy, that if the 12 tribes of Israel were actually in that land, all right, just like when we had crossed over Jordan, okay, after we left the wilderness with Joshua, the Lord parted the land. Okay, he parted the land and he gave the whole land of Israel, all right, and a lot more. Okay, to who? To 12 tribes of Israel. It was parted amongst themselves. Okay, so what happened today? Why do we have only a small part of the land that we got so-called Jays fighting the Islamic world on that piece of land? That doesn't even make sense. Okay, that doesn't even make sense, man. Okay, but the prophecy states that at the end, when the Messiah comes back, okay, with the second coming of the Messiah, when he comes back, and he never came back, 1948, we ain't seen no Messiah. Okay, it would have been history. It would have been recorded. The whole world would have changed. All right, so until we see that change, Messiah he hit the earth yet. Okay, plus once he does, America will cease to exist. America's still here, so the end hasn't come yet. Revelation 18 hasn't been fulfilled yet. Okay, so the people in that land clearly cannot be, according to prophecy, they cannot be the people of the Most High, period. All right, it's not debatable. We're not going to debate it. We're not going to go back and forth and all this shit. We know who we are. All right, and the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is going to put us back in our land. We ain't going to be going through no Balfour Declaration, playing hide and seek and all this bullshit. No. And once the children of Israel, the true children of Israel, are put in that land, guess what? Peace will be back on this earth again. Not this bullshit that you see going on around the world. Okay? So, we're going to move over to the health aspect of things, right? Because they also say that they have health concerns, right? So let's read. It says the study itself identifies expressed health and safety concerns. Okay? It says, let's see. Okay. It says the study itself identifies expressed health and safety concerns. Health and safety. Select it 1 second. Health and safety concerns have been expressed over the health and safety of RFID C-hip implants in 4 main areas: carcinogenicity, right? Carcinogenicity, right? Migration, okay? Interactions with MRI signals and the impact on pharmaceutical effectiveness, okay? It says there have been no systemic studies of health impacts on human wearers. Well, not yet. But there's a prophecy that talks about the noisome and grievous sore, okay? That's going to fall upon those that end up taking that C-hip. All right. So continue. It says there are a number of reports of carcinogenic effects, mainly in specific strains of mice. However, it appears that this probably reflects the unique sensitivity of these species and not a trans-species phenomenon. Potential mechanisms suggest any similar effects in humans to be unlikely, although currently impossible to discount completely with the present state of knowledge. Right? So they don't even fully know or understand this whole entire thing. And that goes to show you that this is all the Most High's design. Okay? They don't fully have the understanding of it, but they're still doing it. You know? So can you say, is it really coming from them? No. The Lord is the one who's putting it in their minds to come up with all these things. Okay? It says studies of the potential interactions between MRI scanning and C-hip implants appear to have excluded any significant effects, although local details on a scan can be physically masked by the C-hip overlying the area of interest. It says this problem can easily be overcome by inserting the C-hip into areas of the body where scans are not likely to be required. It is suggested that interspecies differences in the characteristics of subdermal layers makes significant migration unlikely, although this cannot be categorically excluded. All right, when they talk about migration, they're talking about from the position in which the C-hip is implanted and where it could potentially end up at. So it's migrated from where it's injected into your body. It can move into different parts of your body, right? So that's what they're talking about. Okay, so they're saying that early reports of implemented or implanted C-hips suggested the upper arm as an injection site, although more recent applications seem to favor the web of skin between the thumb and first finger, usually the left hand in right hand dominant individuals. Okay, this has the benefit of being relatively unobtrusive, as well as perhaps less likely to encounter significant migration due to anatomical constraints compared to the upper arm. So there you go. Okay, just like how John the Revelator saw this, okay, it's the same thing that we're living out today, 2023 years later. Okay, we're living in the last days end time prophecies, and the whole world is being awoken to this last warning. Because once the Lord says it's time, is over, he takes his prophets away, it's a done deal. It's a wrap. Okay? It's going to be a merciless end of world scenario. And this is why you're getting that warning. Okay? We can see it, and that's what we're telling you. Every single day, you got brothers doing videos about the same thing every day. That is how warnings are done. Okay? And you don't just get a warning and then the next day the things happen. That's not enough time. And you could turn around and say, well, Lord, I didn't know. Well, you've had years of hearing the same thing over and over again, to the point where people are complaining that we talk about the same things over and over again. Okay? And like the apostles always say, it's to the point where it's ad nauseum, meaning it's so much, it makes you nauseate. It's nauseating. It makes you want to throw up. Oh my God, here we go again with this hip talk. You know, I go into it all the time. Majority of my videos is going into the MOTB and shit. How many videos you see me where I don't even talk about the MOTB? Not that many. You know, it's just a spirit thing. It's just something that, hey, we just inclined to warn people about. You know, and every single day we're bringing more and more evidence that this MOTB that's coming out is the RFID. You know what? But yet you got other people who don't come up with no evidence. They just tell you, oh no, everything you guys are saying can't be it. But yet whatever they bring out is all easily debunkable. Is easy, too easy to beat. Okay, too easy to beat. Why? You know why? Because they're stupid. That's why. Okay, and they don't have the spirit of Yahweh Shemiah Shah dealing with them. So they're going to end up what? They're going to take the C-hip and they're going to be destroyed, period. Okay, so let's keep going. It says, the study names a side effect that may come from the confusion RFID tags in the pharmaceutical products that the European citizen took. If I read this correctly, quote, concerns regarding the impact of RFID technology on the efficacy of pharmaceuticals appear to stem from the processed or proposed the proposed use of RFID tags as a security measure to label containers of pharmaceuticals. This would therefore involve scanning of the bulk compound. Any risk of any effect in vivo, or meaning in the body, right? Just to make sure. In vivo, let's see. In vivo meaning. Right, okay, so in vivo means something that's performed or something that's taking place in a living organism. So basically in the body, right? So continue, it says, any risk of any effect, you know, through the process in the body in scanning the compound circulating within the bloodstream when briefly scanning for an RFID C-hip would be extremely limited, as only a small proportion of the substance would be exposed during scanning. Well, that can't be, that's also a fallacy. Why? Because even without any, you know, C-hip in your body, you're still bombarded with radio frequency everywhere you go, right? Our phones emit strong amounts of radio frequency. Okay, your computers, all right? I mean, the Wi-Fi, right? So we're constantly surrounded with radio frequency energy, you know? And that's, I'm talking like extremely high levels of it. Your microwave, all this shit, okay? So if we're interacting on a daily basis with all these different things that have high levels of radio frequency energy, okay, what makes you say that, oh, well, if you have the C-hip in your body, just a small little portion of it is going to be causing any problems, if that, because you're not really going to be exposing it to anything that's high in radio frequency. That's not true. Okay, this is why people are going to get sick. Your body, you're going to have a lot of people, discoloration is going to happen. Okay, because having that kind of radio frequency running through your body, because remember, you have electricity in your body. They're known as nerves. Okay, and when those nerves interact with this type of shit, who knows what's going to happen? All right. Man. And you can't take it out. Okay, once it's implanted in your body, you're not going to be able to take it out, because there's something known as scar tissue that builds and covers all that stuff. So there's no way you're going to just be bold enough and brave enough to cut it and open up and take it out. No. First of all, the Heavenly Father is the one who's going to put it in your spirit to go ahead and take it in the first place. So you think he's going to put that spirit on you and you just going to automatically just at the end, you're just going to magically just take it out? Oh, Lord, I'm just, you know what? I'm just take this thing out before the missiles drop. And then what, automatically you're going to get beamed up? Fuck no, nigga. Don't work like that. All right? It don't work like that. There's a reason why it's called temptation. And those who endure the temptation to the end, the same shall be saved. So we ain't trying to hear none of that. Okay? We know the end of all this comes destruction. And that's coming in the next few months. Okay, with the pace at which things are going, yo, we ain't gonna be here for much longer. All right, it's just a matter of time. These devils are racing against time. Okay, to get this thing implemented, they're talking about the EU first, then they're gonna come over here. Well, let's see. But they don't have much time. All right, they don't have much time. Okay. It says the writers seemed concerned that someone would bypass the CHIP system through cloning, disabling, tag modification, and eavesdropping on European bodies. This is going to be global, not just in Europe. Okay. It says possible security problems. It would seem that at present, the RFID CHIP technology, which is essentially similar to that used in credit cards and similar smart card systems, is not entirely secure. Security concerns include eavesdropping, cloning, disabling, and unauthorized tag modification. Although since their initial development, there have been a number of schemes promoted to increase their security, especially or usually with some form of encryption. It seems from the literature that each idea is swiftly followed by other researchers reporting some way of breaching the security measure proposed. There you go. So the tests are being done. And ultimately, they're going to wind it all the way down to they come out to that CHIP where they say, this is it. This is the key. And without it, you ain't getting no opening or no doors. Okay? It says implantable RFID CHIPs can be passive, designed to be read-only, or active, where data can be stored on the CHIP and the device has a read-write capability. What is that talking about? That's talking about graphos. Okay, the data. All right, the information of the person and the information that they're interacting with. Okay, that's all going to be part of that CHIP. It, again, biblical prophecy. Okay, when you actually go into the words, you arrive at the same thing that we're talking about here. All right, we ain't just come up with this. This is not something you just pop up in your head. No, when you look up the words, you're going to arrive at one specific thing. Okay, let's go into that word, Mark, real quick in the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter. All right, it's to the point where you even got this guy, Joe Rogan. He knows what the MOTB is, man. Okay? So you go to that word, Mark, it goes into the Greek word, charagma. Okay, and when you go to that word, charagma, it says what? A stamp, an imprinted mark. Okay? A mark branded upon horses. Right? In this case, you just substitute horses with people. Okay? Now, when you go into the root word, or the etymology root word, okay, you go into a word that says charagma, it goes into a word charax, okay, which is a pale or a stake or a palisade, okay, and that's what they put on your skin, and then they press it, they pierce your skin, and then they deliver, all right, the device underneath your skin, and then they pull that stake or palisade right back out, okay, so it's entrenched, it's singed into the body, into the skin, underneath your skin, okay. And when you go into you go a little deeper into charagma, all right, charax, so to speak, right? Go back to it. All right, charax. Go back to charagma real quick. There you go. Let me see. Okay, charagma. Root word, charax. Root word, grapho. See? And grapho says what? To write with reference to the form of the letters. To express in written characters. Okay? It says to grave, especially to write figuratively, to describe or to write something. So to describe, basically, your identity is a description of who you are. Okay, so they tag you, right? And then that tag is your gateway to society. Okay, it's a description of who you are. The moment they scan that tag, boom, everything, all your information pops up. Your health information, right? Your driver's license information, where you live, okay? How you're currently feeling at the moment. They can tap into all of that. Okay? So this is definitely the fulfillment of biblical prophecy as we're reading. All right? So they don't have just a read-write capability. Okay, it says, they don't have just a read-only capability. They have a read-write capability. Okay, it says, although CHIPs are only available that transmit a signal, allowing them to be used for tracking applications, The power requirements for such devices mean that they need to be a larger size to contain a battery capable of storing and providing the necessary power. Don't worry. I believe the maker of the C-HIP himself said that they're going to plant it in a place where the human body will give it electricity. So they don't need a battery. They just need something known as semiconductors, all right, which is these devices that they have underneath the skin that helps with technology operate underneath the human body. Okay, with the different temperatures that the human body goes through and all these different things, it has to work with the C-HIP. If not, you could face some serious health issues. Okay, and I remember there was a video that a movie that I watched a few months ago, and I remember in that movie they actually talked about the C-HIP, and the guy said it verbatim. He said, "The mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is the chip." He said that, and he was saying it. He said, and then the guy, the doctor in there, he was like, "Hey, the guy had it in his hand, and basically they were transporting him from one country to another to do a test on him." And then as he was going, he started having different thoughts, and he's like, "Nah, I don't want this. I don't want to do this. So I'm going to take it out of my hand." And the doctor looked at him dead in his eye. He said, "Listen, I understand where you're coming from, but we've spent mad money just to come over here. Just so you know, if you take that shit out, you could blow up. So if you do that shit, just make sure you ain't on this plane, bro. That kind of thing." So who knows what kind of shit they're gonna have in the device itself, right? But hey, if they're putting that in the movies, remember, art imitates life, right? If they're putting that in the movies, they're letting you know that this thing could potentially have devices that they could just click on it and then boom, that shit could cause an explosion, human combustion. Your hand gonna explode, or could just send a signal straight to your brain and fucking blow your shit up. Who knows, man? But these devils, they're sinister as hell, man. So let's keep going. It says, let me see here. It says both of these factors mitigate against their ready use as implanted devices. Only the passive devices are considered in this paper, although many of the considerations concerning their use will also apply to active devices. Okay, and I think there's a little bit more, and then we're gonna end it off. All right. So it says the C-HIP consists of three parts: an integrated circuit, a means of acquiring power from the reader, and an antenna for receiving signals from and transmitting signals to a reader. Okay, so there's an interaction there, right? It says for human and animal use, these must be encapsulated within a biocompatible material, semiconductors, usually a form of glass. There you go. It says non-implantable devices used for commercial applications or animal applications may be encapsulated in polymers that are insulated. Polymers that are unsuitable for human implantation. The C-HIP material in contact with human tissue must not harm, inflame, or change the composition of that tissue. Undesirable local or system effects in the human body must be avoided. Moreover, the chemical stability of the encapsulated packaging is essential, with good resistance to attacks from the harsh internal environment. It says inside the human body, hydrolytic, oxidative, and enzymatic mechanisms take place that can modify the chemical structure of polymers, leading to biodegradation. Okay? Glasses and ceramics can withstand long periods of resistance to gas or fluid ingress. Okay? Ranging from months or tens of years depending on the material thickness. Well, guess what? You ain't nobody gonna have tens of years. You're gonna have months. After implantation to the destruction, it's gonna be months. Okay? Through the spirit, we believe it's gonna be months, man, because ain't no way they're gonna have this shit going on for that long. It's impossible. This is something that's never been done before in human history. All right, to try to have the whole entire earth be implanted with this type of device. Human beings, you're trying to change a human being to become a mere animal, right? It's gonna be resistance, right? Humans have been this way for thousands of years, and all of a sudden, within a few hundred years or so, shit, less than that, decades. All right, you have these devils coming up saying we're gonna change everything. All right, you're gonna meet resistance, man. Okay, the human body is not built for shit like this. You're gonna meet resistance. Okay. It says the RFID C-HIP are used as part of a system that has 4 component parts. The RFID C-HIP, also known as a tag, stores information, right? What did we look at earlier? Graphos. Graphos is talking about what? The information, the data. Okay? So it stores information, right? So clearly, what we're reading here fits perfectly with what's written and described in the book of Revelation. But if you try to change what we're reading here as MOTB is the RFID C-HIP, and you replace it with sin, or you replace it with sin and all its different parts or some bullshit like that, or sleeping with white women, you notice it doesn't make sense. Okay, you notice it doesn't make sense, right? The only thing that makes sense and fits this prophecy is the RFID C-HIP. That's it, period. Okay? And anyone teaching otherwise is sold out, and he's not a man of the Lord. Don't listen to a clown like that. All right? It says that the C-HIP stores information about the C-HIP person and sends this information back to the reader when a signal of the correct frequency is sent to the C-HIP by the RFID reader for interrogation. Ooh. How you gonna do this with sin in all its various ways and parts, or whatever the fuck this nigga said? How do you say that? You can't say that. Okay? You can't say it's sleeping with white women either. How's that gonna work? How you gonna store information with sleeping with white women? How's that gonna work? How you gonna buy and sell by sleeping with white women? How's that gonna work? Exactly. So it's not even practical. It doesn't even make sense. It's not sound. All right? It's quite illogical and stupid. Okay? It says, as it is a transmitter and a responder, RFID C-HIPs are classified as transponders. As noted above, there are 2 main categories of C-HIP. The passive C-HIP gets its electrical power from the electromagnetic waves emitted by the RFID reader. The active C-HIP has its own battery that tends to limit its useful life and add additional components to be contained within the device. Both types of C-HIP have their own antenna. The RFID reader is a device that broadcasts an electromagnetic signal that any RFID C-HIP within range and operating on the same frequency will respond to. Drawing its power from this signal, the RFID C-HIP will respond with an encrypted signal. The RFID reader will decode this and pass the resulting information to a network. You hear that? So once your C-HIP, once again, you're connected to everything around you. The Internet of Things and the Internet of Bodies. Okay? The network gets the decrypted information from the reader and transmits it to a computer for processing. Sometimes a simple interface between the computer and the reader is used instead of a network. And then it goes into the computer, which is also known as the host or the controller, which controls the RFID reader with software controls. Okay, so you got to understand that soon people are going to be getting updates. Just like you update your phone, you're going to have to get updates. Okay? It says let's keep going. It says it processes the information received from the network to enable an operator to make a decision. It says, well, while Oxford and London are battling the 15-minute city and all of Scotland is facing the 20-minute city, they can perhaps have some small solace for Brexit. However, Europeans should share this information, blah, 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 blah. Cool. All right. But again, they're saying that it appears that the European Union have every intention of going down this path. The barriers to the tagging like cattle of its citizens are within grasp if they pass the Hudat IHS amendments, which again is going to pass. All right, because it's biblical prophecy. Okay, it's biblical prophecy. Let's go and read that one more time and we're going to close it out. Okay, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 16, 17, and 18. It says, and he causeth all. So it's not just the EU, it's going to go around into Africa, into Asia, all right, into America. Okay, you name it, wherever people are at, where you have this technology, people are going to be required to live by this technology. Okay? So it says, and that no man might buy or sell, Salakia, it says that he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Okay? So there you have it, man. Lord willing, you were edified. I got to head back into the office, but Lord willing, you were edified and informed. All right, in closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodash, the water Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, and until next time, Shalom.